Hey there, Niner Nation. Today we spent some time with senior tennis player Antony Davison. We talked to him about the upcoming A10 tournament, Senior Day, and what it was like for him growing up in Derby, England.
I've been playing my whole life since I was 7, 8 years old, and playing tournaments my whole life, and just, I guess, it kind of fell into place through getting a scholarship offered to me from UNC Charlotte. Came out to visit when I was around my 18th birthday, and just came over for tennis and education because the opportunities are so good out in the States. You know, it's a lot different than England. I could have gone just to university back home, but I wouldn't have been pursuing tennis at the same time. So it was nice to come over and be able to do both.
Talk a little bit about growing up in England. I hear you've had the opportunity to go to Wimbledon, and that's a really prestigious thing for any tennis player. Talk about that experience.
Well, it was nice going to Wimbledon. Going to Wimbledon, I was age 14 or 15, played a tournament out there. I mean, like playing on the same courts as Federer, Sampras, those guys I played on, it's pretty nice. But growing up in England is, I kind of get the feeling that it's a lot different than growing up in the States. Our cultures are different, especially in the South, like where I've been the last 4 years, you know, it's different than back home. I feel like where I'm from is a bit more like from what I've heard, is more like a northern city, like a New York or somewhere a bit more metropolitan.
Talk a little bit about your last home match. It's almost like that match came down to you in the very end. Talk a little bit about that.
It was really, really good. Yeah, last match was awesome. It was 3 all-in matches, and obviously it's first to 4 in a college tennis match, and I was the last one on. It was my last ever home match, and so we had quite a few people watching and cheering, and ended up winning it. So it was a nice sign-off. It was my last match ever on these courts, so couldn't have really asked for much more. Would have been bad if I'd have lost it. That would have been a bit embarrassing in front of everyone in my last match ever, so it was nice to actually win it.
Coach Boykin actually said that he couldn't have pictured a better scenario for you on your senior day, and he also mentioned that you've been a leader on and off the court this whole year. What does that mean to you coming from?
Yeah, well, we're like really close, me and Coach. He's a really great guy, and I mean, he trusted me with being captain this year, and he trusts me with the guys. He trusts my judgment, you know, like talking to the guys onto the court, like when he's not around, and on the court when he's not around. I mean, sometimes I'll pull him to the side even if he's on court and talk to them personally. You know, it's not. So it's quite a big responsibility being a captain and having responsibilities in that respect. But I've got great relationships with every one of the guys on the team, and it's been a really good year. I've really enjoyed this year, and I mean, it's just a shame that it has to come to an end.
In your time here at Charlotte, what to you stands out as personal highlights for you? What stands out to you as your best matches?
Well, for me, my best matches were my first year when I first came here. I was playing a lot better than, well, in my personal opinion, in singles especially, I was playing a lot better, but my second year I had foot surgery, so that kind of set me back a bit. My second season wasn't great. It was hard to come back from that. And ever since, I've just not felt quite as myself and quite as good on the court, but like recently I've definitely been getting it together a bit more. I've had a pretty good season this year. But like a great memory is one that just happened. Like last weekend we played George Washington, and we beat them. They won the conference last year. We beat them 4-3 in a really close match. I won my match, and there were some really exciting close matches, and that was one of the best moments of my time here at Charlotte. Like, we all ran on court after the final match was over and congratulated the guy who won. I mean, it was a really special moment, and I mean, we've had moments like that, like, and we've lost to George Washington a couple of times, like when they've been the ones who've ran on the court celebrating, so it was nice to get one back on them the other day. But I've had a lot of great matches here, a lot of great memories. Conference tournament's always been a little bit sour. We've always lost a really close one, or just gone out and we could have won, could have done better. So I'm hoping this year's the year where we finally get it together and finally win the A10.
I'm glad you mentioned George Washington, because you guys have been doing great in conference this year, but I want to talk a little bit about back home for you. How's it like playing tennis over here, and then your family's back at home? How do you keep in touch with them, and how do they know what's going on?
suppose they don't a lot, no, but I'm always on Skype, like with my parents. Well, not so much my dad, but with my mum, I'm always talking to her a lot. Dad's working quite a lot, but I can always catch up with them. I always know they'll be there for me if I ever need them, and I'll be here for them if they ever need me. But it's not like a relationship where we have to be talking all the time. We're always going to be there for each other.
Well, they've got to be extremely proud of you whenever they do catch up with you. You've had great matches recently, and you guys are doing great in conference right now, and you're graduating soon.
But graduation's scary, yeah. I can't believe it's like 6 weeks away or something. It just seems to have come around so quick. I mean, like I just remember my first ever class, like walking in when I was 18, and it doesn't seem like it was 4 years ago. It's pretty wild.
You guys are in conference now, and you're doing really well. You're undefeated in conference. And how do you see that playing out?
It's going to be a tough one against Redford. They're a good team. It's more, I guess we're going to look at it more like a practice match, just to get ready for the tournament. We're going to be playing a team that, if they were in our conference, would probably be the strongest team in our conference. So it's a good match to warm up for the conference and get ready for it. And then conference tournament's the big one. I mean, because we're undefeated, because we've gone 4-0, I'm predicting we'll be a high seed in the tournament, so we should get a good draw.
How are you feeling about your performance going in?
I've always been pretty solid in conference. Like I like the pressure, and I like it's a completely different scenario as to like a normal match. Like everyone's 5 times louder, and there's fans. Everyone's getting crazy. Everyone's adrenaline's a lot more pumped up, and I know I'll be up for it. I know everyone on my team is going to be up for it. It's just if we can put it together. I know we can do well. I know we can win it for sure. Like, I mean, we showed we can beat George Washington, and they won it last year. They've got a really strong team, and we beat them. So I mean, if we play like we did, if we show the fight that we did this past weekend, hopefully we're coming back with a trophy and going to the NCAAs, which would be really nice in my last year.